Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Everspace episode 2 of 2. I'm Enigmaeus and today we're going to do a run. In the last episode we did kind of an overview, but I think it would also be helpful to see how the game plays out when you start, you launch your ship, and then you go until you get blown up. In our case, we're going to go until we get blown up or until we get to the end of the first sector, which is 4 or 5 systems from the beginning, give you an opportunity to see some of the different environments and different scenarios that you might find yourself in. There's not a ton of things to talk about from this menu screen, so we're just going to dive right in. Alright, here we are. We've got some challenges. Destroy a drone by ramming it. That's going to happen by accident someday, I just know it. So we just show up, and we're in this place, and there's asteroids, and you can see there's some enemy ships. They're going after the G&B guys, ganging up on them. Which is kind of an advantageous position for me to be in, because it means that the G&B guys, if I'm careful about where I'm shooting, are going to help blow up the bad guys and help maybe soak some of the fire from the bad guys, and they don't care about the loot. When it comes to the loot from the ships that they've destroyed, they don't care. If it's loot that's labeled G&B, or if it's you firing at or slamming into a G&B ship or freighter or installation, they care about that. But in this case, they're usually pretty handy guys to hang around when the fighting is happening, because it makes it a lot easier and you just grab the loot on your way by. Now these guys, the G&B guys, aren't going to be there to help me. Us. So we're just going to be a little bit cautious. 2 light missiles each is enough, usually, unless they're destroying my missiles. 2 is enough to take down their shields and a big chunk of their hull, and then you just finish them off. The difficulty comes in when they shoot down your missiles.
Another to Stardust.
And then you have to do it all manually, because you don't want to waste your missiles. You know you're going to need them later on. Now when you first start playing the game and there's a tutorial, it reminds you that you've got a pulse laser and a Gatling gun. That's default weapons in the light fighter, which is the only one that's currently available. The pulse... we got some fuel that we can't use. That's great. The pulse laser is better at taking down shields, and the Gatling gun is better at doing hull damage. Both can do both. The pulse laser you can destroy a ship entirely, shields and hull, with pulse laser and the Gatling gun, but if you really wanted to be picky with the min-maxing, you would switch. I don't switch. I can't be bothered. I prefer to do the missile thing, where I just shoot a couple missiles at the fighters, and then they have no shields and very little hull left, and I can just clean up and collect my loot. But in this case, they both shot down my missiles, the bastards. So now we're approaching this big fat asteroid. You can see one of the first things we come across is a container, which is nice. Some compound and some credits, and then there's another container right there, and we've also got these blobs of crystal that we can gather by shooting at them. I like to get in close, because they actually release like little containers of crystal, and if you're close, you automatically pick them up. If you're too far away when you're shooting and doing the mining, you end up with stuff that you have to chase down and pick up after the fact. In this case, it goes pretty smooth. Now we're always kind of thinking in the back of our minds, ideally, about the amount of time that we're spending on the various different things that we do in any given system. So here I did a bit of fighting, and then I came over to this asteroid and we gathered some stuff and opened a couple of containers. And now we've got, it looks like some wreckage attached to this blob of space ice. So we're going to be wary of enemy turrets, because they like to hang around on wreckage like this. But mostly we're going to be aware of, if you look down here, we've got container, and looks like 2 more containers. So this was definitely a good place to stop by. Combat drone.
The Arc 9000, a most sought-after piece of artillery. This is a lucky find.
The ARC 9000, huh? That's interesting. I don't think I've ever had an ARC 9000. Did we actually pick it up, or... ARC 9000 classified as a missile. Okay, keep that in mind. We might have to try and use it on a freighter. I think that's the general consensus here, is all things point to how do we destroy freighters. We got another container in here. We're going to scoot around and find it. You can tell by the little icon sort of what's near you. When you're close to something, usually it'll show you with the icon that you've got a container, or you've got something that you can gather from. There it is. Oh, try not to bounce off things. A damage limiter Mark II. Okay. It's one of the things you have to activate, and I never think to activate. But it's there. We got it. Hooray for us. Oh, here come the interceptors. So, rather than taking our chances, we're just going to get the hell out of here. They're close. That seemed to take an awfully long time to charge up, to be completely so this is the map. This is, we're in Sector 1, and then we've got all these different systems that lead to the jump gate at this far end, and you can choose. We're currently here. You can tell by the ship icon, and we can choose which of these 3 routes to take, which will lead us to these 2, which will lead us to that one. We've got a little legend over here, low risk, medium risk, and if it's red, it's high risk. I think we'll head in the direction of the medium risk, just because hopefully it's slightly better rewards. I could have taken either of the 2 routes that lead there. I chose the middle one. Maybe not the best choice, judging from the looks of things. There's usually 2 or 3 central areas in a given system where you kind of want to focus your attention. We've got the wreck here, and then if we look over here, we've got... That's not a big asteroid, that's just a little one that looks big. Wow, this system is pretty barren. Looks like there's a cluster of stuff around here that we would want to check out. And we do have scanning probes. Very limited supply. We only start each run with 2. And the whole idea with those is that you use it and it shows where the containers are and where, gathering places are in the area, as well as ships, if there are ships nearby. I think there's a limited range. It doesn't necessarily always show you the entire system. But it's a handy thing to have, albeit with the limited supply. And the thing to remember is that sometimes when you use one, it will alert the bad guys and they will spawn in on your head and start shooting at you because they caught on to the signal from your scanning probe. And apparently they want you dead bad enough that they're going to jump right in and get after you. So it's something to be aware of. If you're in rough shape and you can't really handle a fight, the scanning probe is maybe something you want to think twice about using. But in this case, there appears to be a whole big bag of nothing in this system. We've got this plasma cloud that we can gather from. We just have to fly into it and sit there for a few seconds and it'll gather it automatically. But in order for this to be worth it, the choice to come to this system over the other option that we had, we're going to have to use the probe. There we go. The gas cloud is gone. There's the scanning probe. And now we can see there's a container and a scout and a drone and a scout. Mineable gas. So it was worth it. We got a pretty good indication of what's available here. That guy's dead. That was actually a nice clean kill. That guy's dead. Energy injector. And what is that? It's a drone? Have a missile. And we'll finish him off. And all he dropped is fuel. Fuel is the kind of thing if you don't have enough and you try and jump, you can end up with a very, very badly damaged ship. So you always have to kind of be aware of what you have available in terms of fuel before you do the jumping. And if you see something, a drop of some kind that involves fuel that you can pick up, you always pick it up. Otherwise, you can find yourself in a really bad spot. Apparently, oh, turrets? Yeah, turrets. First, we have to make sure we know where the turrets are. There's one there. Outlaw missile turret. Missile turrets can be pretty dangerous. Ow. Hit it. There's -1 missile turret. There's the other missile turret. Highly advantaged position. There we go. I've found it's always good to try and go after the missile turrets from a position of cover, if you can, because if you don't, and they keep hitting you with missiles over and over again while you're trying to kill them, it adds up pretty quick, and then you're not very happy. That was a Gatling, which is what we already have. Another container here. Bonk. And that is an Energy Core Extension Mark III. Subroutine jump drive. Oh, that's why, because we picked up the... Remember I was saying it seemed like a long time to charge up? It's because we had this. We're going to swap this out. I don't like it. Reduces the amount of fuel that you use, but increases the time to charge up your jump drive, which is not necessarily ideal if you're trying to jump out of a situation when you're being pursued, which happens more often than you might like to think. Alright, now we can head back over here for this container at a range of 6 kilometers. Yes, that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to jump out, because I think we're done here. Was it worth it? 188 credits. Maybe not worth it. There we go. That puts us in the medium risk system. And we've got a drone. No, a scout.
You're drawing fire.
Am I? Wow. Look at all the red. So this, you may have noticed it on the screen. We got a warning that the jump drive thing is being suppressed, and we have to find the place that is being hacked from, or suppressed from, and we have to hack it. So I'm guessing that we're going to find it somewhere in here, which means I have to deal with this flotilla of jerk faces. And I kind of have the feeling that this, if not dealt with carefully, could go very, very badly for us. We still have the Arc 9000. One of a maximum of 2. So there's a drone. We can get in within 2 kilometers, plus or minus.
Hit back or take evasive action.
So there's a drone and 2 fighters down, or scouts, whatever they were. Nanobots, 1. Nanobots are what you need to repair. If you have nanobots, you can repair your hull. If you don't have nanobots, you can't repair your hull. And the same goes for damaged systems like weapons and shields and stuff like that. If they're damaged... Plasma mines. Oh... I want some. Maybe we'll use up our missiles and then grab the plasma mines. See if there's a nice juicy G&B freighter in the next system. Wow.
You've been detected.
Of course I've been detected. That's a...
I'll take these. Thank you.
Scouts.
That was not good.
Wow, there's a lot of them. Actually, what we're gonna do we can make one light missile, or so, yeah, one light missile. That's gonna have to help. I got some system damage, and just like that, game over. We only earned just under 3,000 credits for a 14-minute run with 12 kills, and Sector 1 is where we ended up. We got the hull damage mod for new blueprints, which is not necessarily a bad way to go, and the credits we can apply to perks that will make us a little bit stronger with our next run. Let's just quickly see what we can do here. Sector scanner is not really a high priority. Boost speed. Sounds like fun. We still have work to do in the max speed category, but it's starting to get a little bit expensive. Critical hit chance. Why not? Anything that helps we can take. We have 839 credits left to spend, with the idea being, oh, they're perfect. Anything that we don't spend, we get to carry a little bit of it forward because of perks that we have, but it's basically lost for all practical intents and purposes. So we used up the last little bit on the one that we found that cost 800. Worst case scenario, we lose 39 credits, and we are ready for our next run. So that's Everspace. As the game evolves, I would probably consider doing new episodes just to kind of showcase the changes that have been made, the additions that have been made. But for now, we're just going to leave it as is. If you want to check it out, it's available on Steam in the Early Access program. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.